Kia ora! Greetings and welcome to another animal presentation and to the Zoo Aoraki from New Zealand. If the theme would be the Lord of the Rings, I'd say the little devil came from Bag End, but since it's Planet Zoo, there are no real Baggins around, only marsupials. Okay, just for naming convention, maybe we could call this part of the world as Pouch End. Beside the many kind of species which live in Pouch End, the devil cannot miss from the list. The Tasmanian devil belongs to the order of carnivores and within that to the family of Dasyuridae, and is the largest marsupial predator alive today. Its scientific name is Sarcophilus harrisii, and as the sole member of this Sarcophilus genus, it does not really have close relatives, as the other two species, Sarcophilus laniarius and Sarcophilus mornaensis, became extinct in the Pleistocene. Its size is comparable to that of a small dog and was once widespread throughout Australia, but was pushed back to the island of Tasmania, and recently a smaller population has been reintroduced to the Australian continent, to New South Wales. George Prideaux Robert Harris, a Tasmanian deputy surveyor, explorer, artist and naturalist, was the first to talk about the animal in a presentation at the Zoological Society of London. Then, in 1807, he was the first to describe it as a type of opossum, and he gave it the name Didelphis ursina due to its bear-like characteristics. The photo shows Harris's drawing of the animal he presented, with the Tasmanian devil at the top and the Tasmanian tiger or Tasmanian wolf below, which was extirpated in the 20th century. The devil could not keep the name of Didelphis ursina because the English botanist and zoologist George Kearsley Shaw had named the common wombat the same way already in 1800, which by the way was also later renamed to Wombatus ursinus. In 1838, the English biologist, anatomist and paleontologist Sir Richard Owen named it Dasyurus laniarius, but in 1877 he reclassified it to the genus Sarcophilus. It received its current Sarcophilus harrisii name in 1841 from the French botanist and geologist Pierre Botta, and it means Harris's meat lover, so it has kept its connection with its first describer. In 1987 they tried to change it again to Sarcophilus laniarius, but it was not accepted, and they kept the name for the species that became extinct in the Pleistocene. Tasmania's European explorers called it Beelzebub's cub because of its distant sound heard in the night, but it has been given various names throughout history from the same category, as it was considered evil. This is because if it's attacked or if it wants to drive its fellow devils away from the carrion, it tries to intimidate the opponent with loud, hoarse grunts and gnashing of teeth. In the language called Palavakani, which was preserved and recreated from the word remnants of Tasmanian Aboriginal languages, the name of the Tasmanian devil is Purinina. In 1987, the Swedish paleozoologist Lars Werdelin defined two subspecies, but these are not recognized everywhere. One is the nominal subspecies Harrisii, the other is Dicksonae. The largest marsupial carnivore has an average head body length between 57 and 65 centimeters, a tail of 25-26 centimeters, and an average weight of around 8 kilograms, but it can be between 4 and 12 kilograms. Females are slightly smaller and weigh around 6 kilograms on average. Slightly smaller specimens of both sexes are usually found in western Tasmania. They have 5 toes on their front feet, 4 on which point forward and 1 to the side, helping them to hold their food, while they only have 4 toes on the back. Each toe has non-retractable claws. Unusually for marsupials, Their front legs are longer than their hind legs, and they can reach speeds up to 13 km per hour in short distances. Their color is usually black, with irregular white spots on the chest and tail being common, but about 16% of wild devils have no white spots at all. Tasmanian devils store fat in their tails, and healthy individuals have fat tails. This tail serves as a counterweight to aid stability during fast movement. At the base of the tail there is a scent gland that produces a strong, pungent secretion, with which it marks the ground left behind. Relative to its body, the Tasmanian devil has the strongest bite of any carnivorous mammal. It can open its jaws at an angle of 75-80 degrees, so it can bite big, and that's why its bite is so strong. It can tear large pieces of meat and crush bones. Its teeth and jaw resemble those of a hyena. Like dogs, it has 42 teeth and prominent canines, but unlike dogs, it does not replace its teeth. Instead, a single set of teeth grows from birth and becomes stronger throughout its life. With its long claws, it can dig holes in search of food, but it also grabs its victims with them and draws its partner closer during mating. The strength of its teeth and claws allows it to catch wombats much larger than itself, up to 30 kilos. In fact, wombats are its favorite. Hearing is its dominant sense, and it also has an excellent sense of smell, which has a range of 1 kilometer. Since devils hunt at night, their vision seems best in black and white. In such conditions, they can easily detect moving objects, but have difficulty seeing stationary objects. They are found in all habitats on the island of Tasmania, including the fringes of urban areas, and are distributed throughout the Tasmanian mainland and on Robbins Island, which is connected to the mainland Tasmania at low tide. The northwest population is found west of the River Forth and south to Macquarie Heads. There were also populations on Bruny Island before the 19th century, but there are no records of them since the 1900s. They were illegally introduced to Badger Island in the mid-1990s, but were removed by the Tasmanian government in 2007. In September 2015, 20 captive-bred devils were released into Tasmania's Naravatapu National Park, but 2 of them were hit by cars. Although they can be found all over the island, their main habitat is in areas of eastern and northwestern Tasmania, with low to moderate annual rainfall. They prefer dry forests to wetter forest or the plains of southwest Tasmania. Because the species is highly adaptable, they are less threatened by habitat destruction than by highways, or the facial tumor disease DFTD, which has been spreading through infections since the 1990s and has wiped out 70% of devils since it appeared. The Tasmanian devil has another uniqueness, which is a rare species of tapeworm, because it can only be found in these animals. Interestingly, even the devil has parasites. In late 2020, Tasmanian devils were reintroduced to mainland Australia at a sanctuary maintained by OCARC in Barrington Tops, New South Wales. It was the first time devils had lived on the Australian mainland in more than 3,000 years. In this 400-hectare protected area, 26 Tasmanian devils were released, and by the end of April 2021, 7 little devils were born, and by the end of 2021 the stock had increased to 20 little devils. Well, all I can say is that looking at the list of dangerous animals living in Australia, the wildlife of the continent is so specialized in dangerousness that the presence of devils can only move the standard in the positive direction. Tasmanian devils can climb trees, but this athletic skill is practiced more in their younger ages than their older ones. Well, this does not happen only in their case. Anyway, while young individuals can climb up to 7 meters high, adult individuals can only climb to 2.5–3 meters high on straight, large diameter tree trunks. This difference in climbing height helps the survival of the young, just as it did in the case of the Komodo dragons from episode 9. They can also swim, and according to records they have swum across 50-meter wide rivers. In fact, they apparently took great pleasure in swimming longer distances in ice-cold water. Well, I can imagine this visible joy on their face exactly as I would see it on the face of Hide the Pain Harold, as if he were to cross an ice-cold river smiling. Tasmanian devils are solitary animals but not territorial, and the devils introduced to the previously mentioned Naramtapu National Park were given radio collars, which they wore faithfully, and during their study it was found that they seemed to be members of a large community. While the males usually avoided each other, the most contact was between females or between females and males during mating. Only females were territorial around their den. The habitat of Tasmanian devils observed between 2 and 4 weeks varied between 4 and 27 square kilometers, with an average of 13 square kilometers, and the location of the territories depended on food. Devils like to inhabit caves, and they are especially fond to those dug by wombats, especially since they can also be considered a full pantry. Since the burrows dug by wombats are considered safe, females especially like them for giving birth. Devils like to reuse safe dens, and observations have shown that safe dens are more important than food, so habitat destruction has had greater impact on populations than lack of food. In areas close to human habitations, they are known to steal clothes, blankets and pillows and take them to dens in wooden buildings. I also couldn't imagine a comfortable place without blankets and pillows. In fact, I also require the clothes, but not necessarily. Speaking of clothes, the Imadar Nightbird Animal Presentations t-shirts have arrived. I posted them in a post on the community page. Members receive these shirts as a gift from me after 9 months of membership, which is valid in Hungary, and 12 months otherwise. Tasmanian devils can take down prey as large as a smaller kangaroo, but in practice they are more opportunistic and eat carrion more often than freshly hunted prey. As I said, they like wombats because they don't run very fast and have a high fat content, but they also eat all small mammals, including domestic sheep and rabbits, and they also hunt penguins. In addition, they eat other birds, fish, insects, reptiles, frogs, even tadpoles, but they also eat fruits and vegetables. Their diet is varied and they eat what is available. Before humans exterminated the Tasmanian tigers, the devils also posed a threat to their cubs. I think this could also have been a vendetta because the Tasmanian tiger, bigger than the devil, destroyed the devils. They can also steal and chew on shoes near human settlements. Honestly, I'd rather have a devil steal my shoes than a venomous snake or something else use it as a house. According to observations, there have been found a big variety of things inside devils, like collars or other tagging solutions of pets, spikes of anteaters, pencils, plastic and even jeans. As far as I know, the farmer was not inside the jeans at the time of the crime. Their bite is strong enough to bite through metal traps, and they have even escaped from captivity several times thanks to this feature. And they can even break into the pantry. Since rabbits and smaller kangaroos are faster than them, they prefer to attack animals slowed down by disease. They are able to tell by smell if their victim is sick or weak, which means they are slow. They are known to even dig up carrion. There is also a record that they dug up a horse that had died of disease, and since they start feeding with the anatomically softer parts like the abdomen, it may happen that they move directly into the larger carcass, hosting them for a feast lasting several days. In other words, they consume the victim from the inside. They eat 15% of their own body weight every day, but if the opportunity arises, they are capable of more. They can eat 40% of their own weight in just half an hour. After such a hearty feast, they tend to wander away and rest, like take a siesta for better digestion, which is probably due to the fact that there is no larger predator in their environment that would pose a threat to them at this time. They can eat the entire carcass of a small prey, including hair and skin, thereby preventing the reproduction of insects that would harm the livestock, and thus doing the farmers a good service. So there is also a positive side of them. Eating habits and the type of prey also depend on the season. In winter, they tend to kill medium-sized animals, while in summer they tend to hunt for larger prey. The young tend to climb trees for invertebrates and bird eggs, including small birds. Although they are mostly solitary animals, there have been sightings of them hunting together, with one devil chasing prey from its hiding place while another hunts it down. Their unique feature among predatory mammals is that although they usually hunt alone, they are happy to see their fellows to eat the fallen prey, and what's more, they even call them loudly. It seems that they would rather share the food than let it go to waste and rot. At such a communal meal, up to 12 Tasmanian devils can feast together, although usually groups of 5-6 individuals gather for this type of community activity. The loudness of the noise made during the feast usually depends on the size of the prey and how many other individuals feed there. If the food source is larger, there are fewer collisions between the individuals, but usually the dominant individual has to fill itself first, fighting off all challengers, and then the others can eat as well. Dominance is more often determined by sounds and physical posture, but sometimes they actually fight. In the event of a real fight, they can stand on two legs, in which case they push each other's shoulders with their front legs and head. Some compare this type of fighting to sumo wrestling, the sports which even Johnny Bravo, the one-man army, was still studying. Sometimes they injure each other, which is why the adult males have several scars on their mouths, around the teeth, and some on their backs, because the dominant male, after chasing away the challenger, bites its back while chasing it. The island's other marsupial predators, the spotted-tail quolls, hunt larger animals but are usually unable to finish their feast as they are chased away by Tasmanian devils, while eastern quolls hunt smaller animals so they can finish their meal before the devils come near them. Scientists think that the population of spotted-tailed quolls on the island is smaller because of this. In general, dasyurids have very fast digestion, but in the case of the Tasmanian devil, it is slow compared to other species, meaning that it takes several hours for the food to pass through them. Defecation is also a communal activity, as Tasmanian devils usually return to the same common places to do their big business. These places are called community latrines. Well, not by them, but by the scientists. Scientists also suspect communication in this defecation activity, and each end product can be very large compared to their body. Let's say it nicely, even a 25 cm cable can be laid by a Tasmanian devil. Well, we figured out nutrition and defecation. In computer terms, we've had input and output. Let's move on to the reproduction. Females typically become sexually mature at the age of 2 when they begin to reproduce. From then on, they fertilize once a year and produce several eggs when they are in heat. Mating takes place in March in a sheltered location, both day and night, although recent breeding studies place the mating period between February and June. Males fight for the females during this period, and the dominant male mates first. If and when the dominant male does not take care of the female, she will mate with other males. At the same time, males also mate with several females. For this reason, the males during the mating season keep the females in the den, or even take them along when they go for drinking, for example. Males can produce up to 16 offspring in their lifetime, while females experience an average of 4 mating seasons and give birth to 12 offspring. Theoretically, this means that the population of devils could double every year. The pregnancy rate is high. In 80% of 2-year-old females, a newborn was observed in the pouch. The pregnancy lasts for 21 days, and the devils give birth to 20-30 young, which immediately after birth climb up into the pouch, where 4 nipples await them. So the climbing takes place with great competition. As soon as a newborn reaches the nipple in the pouch and latches onto it, the nipple expands inside the little one, so that it does not fall out of the pouch. Once they reach this destination, they develop rapidly. In general, 60% of the young do not reach adulthood, and males have a higher mortality rate. Weaning usually takes place in March when the prey is more abundant, so the young can thrive more easily. Sexual maturity is reached at the age of 2 years, and in the wild there are usually few that reach the age of more than 5 years. Probably the longest-lived Tasmanian devil was Kula, a male born in the Cincinnati Zoo in January 1997 who lived more than 7 years. Kula died in May 2004 at the Fort Wayne Children's Zoo. The reason for the disappearance of the devil from the Australian mainland is unclear, but their decline coincides with the sudden change in climate and the spread of Aboriginal Australians and dingoes, but the exact reasons are not known. The existence of the Tasmanian devil, in addition to the elimination of the dens of the mothers raising the cubs, is mainly influenced by the cancer that has spread in recent times, which has greatly destroyed the stock since the 90s. In 2008, large amounts of potentially carcinogenic flame retardant chemicals were found in Tasmanian devils. Tests in fat tissue from 16 devils showed high levels of hexabromobiphenyl and some decabromodiphenyl ether. Hexabromobiphenyl is a substance belonging to the class of polybrominate biphenyls, classified as a highly toxic persistent organic pollutant and banned by the 2001 Stockholm Convention. Extremely persistent in soil and microbial degradation. Its target organ is the endocrine system. Until it was banned, it was used as a flame retardant, for example in plastics where there was heat, such as engines, radio and TV subunits, and at the same time as a flame retardant additive in paints and varnishes, and in polyurethane foam used in car upholstery. Some experts estimate that the population of Tasmanian devils has declined by more than 80% since the mid-1990s, and as of 2008 only about 10,000–15,000 individuals remained in the wild. The species was listed as vulnerable in the Tasmanian law passed in 2005 and in Australia in 2006. At the same time, the IUCN classified it as least concern in 1996 but reclassified it to the endangered category in 2009. Suitable wildlife sanctuaries, such as the Savage River National Park in northwest Tasmania, offer hope for their survival. The Tasmanian devil is an iconic animal in Australia and is particularly associated with Tasmania. The animal is used as the emblem of the Tasmanian National Parks and Wildlife Service and the former Tasmanian Australian Rules football team that played in the Victorian Football League was known as the Devils. The Hobart Devils were once a member of the National Basketball League. The devil has appeared on several commemorative coins in Australia over the years. Tasmania's Cascade Brewery sells ginger beer with a Tasmanian devil on the label. In 2015, the Tasmanian devil was chosen as the state emblem of Tasmania. Devils began to be used as ecotourism in the 1970s, when studies showed that overseas about Tasmania it was often the only animal known from the island, and marketing led to some devils being taken on promotional tours. The Tasmanian devil is probably best known internationally thanks to the cartoon character Taz from the American cartoon series Looney Tunes, created in 1954. The loud, hyperactive Taz has little to do with the real animal. After a few shorts between 1957 and 1964, the character disappeared until the 1990s, when he got his own show, Tazmania, and became popular again. In 1997, a newspaper report noted that Warner Brothers had trademarked the character and registered the name Tasmanian Devil. Legal cases were also not far from the matter. In 2006, Warner Brothers permitted the government of Tasmania to sell stuffed toys of Taz, with the profits going to the research of DFTD, the Tasmanian Devil facial tumor disease. Apparently, the devil needs redemption too. In 1970, at Lake Nietzsche in western New South Wales, a male human skeleton wearing a necklace of 178 teeth from 49 different devils was found. The skeleton is estimated to be 7,000 years old, and the necklace is believed to be much older than the skeleton. Remember, if you want to help keep the channel going and presenting animal facts, you can become a member, which I greatly appreciate. If you liked the video, press the like button. If you are subscribed, thank you for honoring me. If not, you can do so now. Join the Madar Nightbird Discord server if you want to chat with me or other Planet Zoo players. And write your opinion about the video and the Tasmanian Devil in the comments. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day.